Welcome. My name is Tayo Solagbade, and I am your host on the CEO Spotlight Interview Series. Our guest on this issue is Burt Dubin, renowned veteran mentor of some of the world's highest paid speakers. Burt, for your information, is 91 years old, but still functions much more productively than many who are half his age are capable of doing. I mean that intellectually and even in some way, in cases physically, because he still drives his car hundreds of miles interstate to attend events, though he does not perform anymore as a speaker. Like I said, he's been a mentor to speakers for actually more than 3 decades. Before then, he had a successful career in sales and sales management for over 26 years. In other words, we're talking about somebody for over half a century who has excelled at some of the highest levels of productivity possible in his chosen fields of interest and expertise. Burt also happens to be my mentor and a mentor to other people some of whom I have had interactions with. And I can tell you one thing, he has a passion for helping people make the most of their God-given potential. For me, my motivation for creating the CEO Spotlight Interview Series actually stemmed from my interaction with Burt over the last 5 years or so of our relationship. And before then, I had been quoting Burt in several articles I wrote on the web way back from as far back as 2002. So my motivation for doing this is to capture the wisdom from a person of Burt's depth and wealth of knowledge and experience for the benefit of so many others that may not have access to him, whether through the web or through physical forms by meeting with him in person. There are so many people that can benefit from the wisdom of people like Burt who have explored the highest levels of achievement possible and discovered the secrets of success. Like he says, he has cracked the code. In various fields he has endeavored to venture, Burt successfully cracked the code to do what he had to do there in those areas at the highest levels of achievement possible. I think that people like that, we must capture the lessons and the knowledge they have to offer us so that other people can also drink from their wells of wisdom for many, many more years to come. And that is my motivation for creating this. This is a public service. I hope you find it useful. I hope you find the interview interesting. And I look forward to getting your responses, if any, to what you learn. Thank you.
Hi, this is Burt Dubin, creator of the Speaking Success System and author of How to Bust Loose. Use mental alchemy to take command of your life now. I'm pleased to be a guest today. I should say I'm delighted to be a guest today on Tayo Solagbade's CEO Spotlight Interview.
Hi, Burt. Thank you for accepting to respond to questions on my CEO Spotlight interview. I feel truly honored. Can you give us an introduction of yourself?
Thank you for investing a few moments of your time with me. I am Burt Dubin, longtime student of the human condition. My special focus is the human mind and its potential. Brain-mind science is the name I coined for the object of my study. Most people are ordinary mortals. They dwell in a shrouded world. They are unaware and evidently do not want to know the higher truths of human existence. About 2,400 years ago, Plato was the disciple of Socrates. He wrote the words and observations Socrates shared with him. His observations regarding the human condition are in the 6th book of his magnum opus, The Republic. The Republic, in its English translation, may be found in virtually every public library. If you choose to Google Plato's Cave, you can see for yourself dozens of views of the life of ordinary mortals as perceived by Socrates and related by Plato.
Now, why did you write Bust Loose? Why now and not before?
Though I continue and will continue to mentor aspiring speakers, I retire from travel and speaking in 2010. My core message, the message with which I have been infusing my seminars, speeches, and mentoring for over a quarter of a century, is still pregnant in my mind. By the year 2012, while relaxing in my favorite chair, I find words emerging from my mind, and I am moved to write them down. This continues for over 2 years. I create a collection of scribbled notes. In 2014, I take this chicken scratch to my computer and start organizing it. Gradually, chapters come into place. I realize that I have to get my words published. Also, during this process, I see that there are enough research findings for a second book. I start organizing chapters for a second book, and then I discover there's enough research for a third book. So I expect to be busy for the next couple of years. In brief, I make discoveries in the mid-1970s. Long time ago. These are discoveries about the human mind. I mean the higher powers of the human mind. I start seeking the source and the roots of genius. For my research, I select 2 certified geniuses, Thomas Edison and Albert Einstein. I invest many hours in the Santa Monica Public Library. Thanks to interlibrary loan, I'm able to get my hands on copies of just about everything published by and about these men. Then I analyze my perception of their thinking process. I emulate their thinking process, and with that emulation, I successfully download, or maybe I should say upload, valid insights about how people become who they are. This is my original research, never ever published before. Starting in 1980 and continuing through 2010, I document and share my findings with audiences from New Zealand and Australia to Ireland and the UK and all over North America. Many of my audience members are highly educated. Not one word of rebuttal ever reaches me. Instead, people request extra copies of my documentation. In 2015, my first book is published, Bust Loose. Like an infant that must be born, my insistent discovery must be released to live its own life, must be allowed into the world. So my first book is composed and published.